Hello, Kuru and Nikki. It is Monday, the 22nd of June, 3 days before Gareth's 18th birthday. I'm eating leftover Chinese food from last night. All right, I'll quit being obnoxious. So I want to give you a rundown on my weekend. So Thursday evening, we had our first soccer game, and rec league soccer. And I gotta say, I'm 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 too old to play the way that my brain says I should be playing, and so I end up hurting myself. I didn't hurt myself badly, but I banged up my knee and my ankle on my right leg. Don't feel good. I still don't feel good. It's Monday. I got another game Tuesday, another game Thursday. I don't see how there's any way I can play 2 games a week. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not. I'm a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit depressed about it, to be honest. So anyway, played soccer Thursday. Got up Friday morning. Had a bunch of stuff to do. Got most of it done, but then I had a gig at 4:30 at Juniper House, which is an assisted living center in Pendleton, and they, are specializing in Alzheimer's or memory care, I guess they call it. And so this was the second gig I played there, and it was actually quite fun. It was a Father's Day thing, so there were a lot of other people there, and there were some of the staff had brought in their kids, which was really fun. And the people who were there, the patients, the residents, really enjoyed the kids, clearly. And actually, when I interacted with the kids, these two little girls kept coming by, and I talked to them, and I let them talk in the microphone and stuff. I mean, the people really enjoyed that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And actually, I'm playing there again. They're doing an open house for the Chamber of Commerce in mid-July, and so I'm thinking about taking Taryn with me to hang out, and just because the people there really love seeing the kids, and so it was nice. And actually, when I finished playing, I was going around talking to some of the residents who were there, and this one woman slipped me a $20 bill, and so I tried to give it back to her, and she was like, "No, no, please." And I was like, "Okay." So I took it, and I went back to the woman who books me, and I said, "This woman over here gave me $20. Can you make sure she gets it back?" So so yeah, it was a nice experience. So then right after the gig, we actually I came home, and we jumped in the car and drove to Colfax. So we ended up getting up there around a little after 10 on Friday night, and uh, went and slept at my parents' house. And my mom, by the way, has had shoulder replacement surgery. So she has uh, her left shoulder has been replaced by a titanium and plastic shoulder. And she seems to be doing really well. She said she's a week ahead on the healing. She was in great spirits, but she's still in pain. She actually said she's in less pain than she was before, which is good. My mom's an optimist, so she could just be telling herself that. But if she believes it, doesn't matter. Um, yeah, so it was nice to see mom and dad. And then we got up Saturday morning, and there's a Sheltering Branch committee meeting in Pullman. So Linda and Sarah went into town, and then I was going to go in and hang out with Tom for a while. So I was walking over from my parents' house to Brad and Linda's house, and I told you I kind of screwed up my knee and ankle, and I went to step up on their porch, and my knee just and my ankle just didn't quite work right, and I ended up missing the step. And it's one of those weird things where I was having, not as much now, but I was having a sharp pain in the top of my knee, and it's just a weakness. And I think that I just had that weakness. So I fell onto the steps. Unfortunately, I was carrying my laptop, and as I fell onto the porch, I went whack, and I actually smacked my laptop flat on the porch really, really hard. And so I was like, oh, crap. And so I went inside, and I opened it up and went to and started it up, and the screen came up fine, and then it said boot device not found. So it has a solid state hard drive. So I thought, well, maybe, I mean, I'll open it up and see if I can figure out what's going on in there. But then I turned it over, and it has these little hex star, six-pointed star screws that, nobody has a screwdriver to deal with them, which is why they put it on there. But it also means I got to go buy a screwdriver. So I asked if, I'm sure Brad had some somewhere, but he was gone and we couldn't find one. And so I went over to my dad's place and he didn't have them. So I thought, well, Tom's a computer guy. Maybe he's got one. So anyway, I took my computer and went to see Tom. Had a really fun time with Tom. We hung out and chatted, and he's doing a bunch of work on his house and everything. He bought a big dually, like 1 ton pickup truck, like a 1995 Ford 350, I think, for $2,000 or something, that he's using to do house projects and haul bricks and sand and stuff. So anyway, he's doing okay. So then when the Sheltering Branch Committee meeting was over, Linda and Sarah came over and we talked about our trip, because I'm sure I've talked about this. We're going in October. The plan is on October 7th we leave and we fly to Iceland for 2 days, and then we fly to London, where we change planes and have like a 10-hour layover, and then we fly to Tel Aviv, spend the night in Tel Aviv. Then the next day get up and go to Haifa. We go on pilgrimage for 9 days, then get up like at 4 in the morning, get the train back to Tel Aviv, fly back to London. We stay in London for 3 days. Then we're going to go out to Dartmoor in southwestern England, and then drive up and spend a couple days kind of puttering around in southern Wales, and then head up to a place where we're going to stay in the Lake District, actually between the Lake District and the Peak District, and spend a week there, and then go back to northern Wales for a week, and then back to London, I guess. Or maybe we're flying out of Manchester on the way home. And yeah, I think we are. So we're flying out of Manchester City. I always say that because the football club. Flying out of Manchester on the way home, and then through Iceland and back home. So we're going to have a month-long trip. Anyway, Tom and Lynn are coming on the Israel part of the trip, and going to spend 3 days in London at the end of that. So basically, we were talking with them about what needs to happen for that trip, which was kind of fun. You start thinking about what you're going to need and all this stuff. Sarah and I've already actually started acquiring, like I got some pants on sale, and yeah, it's stupid. Anyway, but then there's this guy who I met online on Big Soccer, who is a professor at University of Idaho, who actually studies international soccer, and he lives in Pullman. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Pullman. And so I actually went and had kind of a afternoon snack with him. We went down to the Daily Grind on Main Street and just talked for half an hour, which was nice. Actually, it was closer to an hour. He's a really cool guy. Came to Pullman actually for grad school. Got his PhD in history at Wazoo, and then got this job at U of I, and he's been there ever since. He's got 2 kids who were born and raised there, and he and his wife drove around the country. Think about this, Nikki and Carew, both of you who've spent a lot of time in Pullman. They drove around the entire country, 4,000 miles, looking for a place where they wanted to go to grad school, and they really liked the Palouse. That's what they picked. So yeah, that was their choice. Anyway, it was kind of fun to meet him. After that, I went and bought my tool, went back to Brad and Linda's house. I opened up the computer, and Carew was there with me, and we're like looking at it, and it's amazing. I mean, this computer, the miniaturization is unbelievable. And so I found that there were like 4 different places where cables could be plugged in. And they're these flat cables that are just tiny, and then they've got these little micro connectors. And so I was just kind of messing with one, and I popped it off and popped it back on, and I tried to restart it, and it didn't work. So then I went through and systematically did them all, and then I tried to restart it, and presto, it worked. So it had just, one of these things had come unseated. So thank goodness I didn't have to redo. Actually, I hadn't lost a ton of stuff, but buying a new computer, and I had I'm teaching a class for summer school, and I had lots of work into that, which I didn't have ready. So yeah, so I got my computer working again, and then I went back to Tom's house that evening, and Justin Fisher came, and we watched the Galaxy game online, and LA beat um, Philadelphia 5-1. It was the first decent game that LA has played all season. Really, I mean they won their season opener 2-0, and they had a 500 record going into this match, and they hadn't won a game by more than one goal. So it's been it's been a kind of a rocky season, but it was kind of cool to watch that game. So then I got up the next morning and wrote the article about it that I put online, and I'm actually kind of getting into these articles. It's getting faster and easier to write them, and I'm enjoying it. And then we headed home. We drove back to Pendleton, and Sarah and I went for a walk, and so we started talking about camp, which is next week. And Carew, I'm assuming that Beth and Colleen actually have already left your neck of the woods and are on the train headed this way. And they're going to call, I guess, and I'm going to pick them up in Pasco, depending on when they arrive. I think they're due to arrive at like 5:30 in the morning. But with any luck, they'll be delayed 2 or 3 hours, and I can go up at like 8:30 in the morning instead of 5:30 to pick them up. The one thing about camp, the forecast. So the forecast in Dayton is like Saturday 106 degrees, Sunday 109 degrees, Monday 106 degrees, Tuesday 107 degrees. It's supposed to be really, really hot. And actually, I was talking to Sarah because I'm supposed to teach the afternoon class, and I was like, seriously, you're going to put all these people in a room when it's 100 degrees and expect me to teach them about to run a class about cognition and what is it? I can't think of the words now. I can't even think of the words now, and it's not 106 degrees. So I was encouraging them to actually cancel the afternoon class and let people play in the water, or maybe just get together and sing some songs outside for an hour. I mean, that would be great. But I mean, if you can find a shady spot outside and spray some water around and sing songs, but I don't know. I'm kind of concerned that it's going to really suck. So yeah, that's pretty much what we've been up to. Actually, last night. So we got home yesterday afternoon at like 3 o'clock, and then Carew had 3 friends from college, 3 young women, 2 of who are partners, and the third one was visiting them from Scotland. And they spent the night last night, and we had a very rousing conversation, which was actually it was really cool. I love the energy and everything. It's interesting because the woman from Scotland, who's only 19, I think, she did not censor her language at all, and you could tell that it made her 2 friends a little uncomfortable that she was cursing a lot in front of our 11-year-old son. And actually, Sarah's mom left. She was a little uncomfortable with it, but I just kind of hung out with them, and we had a good time. And I talked to Taryn about it afterwards, and I was like, people talk that way, and it's okay. It's not a big deal. And he was okay about it. And actually, when they were cursing, he said, "That's okay. I play games online." And I was like, "Oh, great." So yeah. So it's been an eventful few days. It's been busy. It's going to be really busy in the lead up to camp next week. I've got a gig on Friday. I'm going to be going to the recording studio on Tuesday. We've got soccer games Tuesday and Thursday. I'm not sure if I'm going to play in both of them. I play tennis on Wednesday with Nick. So, yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope to talk to you guys soon. Take care.